Hey everybody. I know you're not normally supposed to see my face during the LP, but what happens at the beginning of this episode is Gabriel gets a journal from his uncle. And the journal's very important. But I'm not going to make you sit through and read all the dialogue, especially since it's done by the narrator, who I can't stand. And believe me, you couldn't either. So what I'm going to do real quick is summarize for you the journal, and then we'll get right into the LP. And I made sure to make sure, because since I read the book, I have a tendency to incorporate some of the book, which gives you more background than the game does. So I'm trying to just give you what the game gives you. Basically, it's a journal written by a man named Gunter Ritter. He was brought in pre-Civil War. He came all the way from Germany to Charleston to find out. There were rumors of a cabal of witches that were murdering people. So he came as a witch hunter because the Ritter family's good at this sort of thing. And basically, it's this long story about him trying to find the voodoo witches that are killing people, because it turns out they're killing slave traders that brought them over. They're hunting down people who were on the ships. Ultimately, he sets a trap for them where he impersonates one of the last remaining sailors so that he can get captured. Now, during this time, during this investigation, he falls in love with a woman named Titello, who's one of the slaves. And he tries not to fall in love with her. He knows he shouldn't be falling in love with her. They fall in love. They have sex. When he's captured by the voodoo cult, surprise, surprise, the witch in charge is Titello. Ultimately, she lets him live, and she walks away, and she takes with her the sacred family talisman, which they use in their fight against evil. Gunter expresses great dismay to his family. He basically disowns himself from the family out of shame. Titello loves him and hates him. And it's not made very clear in this, but in the book it explains, because he does help her to escape being killed, which was his job, to hunt down and kill the witches. He helps her to escape being killed, but he doesn't go with her. And he doesn't help her as much as maybe she thinks he should. He's torn, and that indecisiveness causes her to have a great hatred for him. Alright, so Titello loved and hated Gunter, and that's it. That's what the journal tells us. So let's go ahead and dive into the LP. Thank you for sitting with me. And here we are on day 5. I have to convince the police not to close the investigation. That's the primary ending point for the day. Well, that's a change, isn't it? Somebody was out all night.
Are you okay, Gabriel?
Sure. Great. Why?
I'm worried about you.
If I were any better, Grace, I'd be dead. Now, what's up?
You got another package this morning. FedEx from Germany.
Only took 2 days. That's pretty speedy. I mean, I don't think I could get a package from here to Germany in 2 days.
Where is it?
Well, it kind of came open, but I salvaged the contents. There was a letter from your great-uncle Wolfgang in a journal.
The package just came open, huh? How'd you like the journal?
Someone has to look after you. You're in trouble. In case you don't know it.
Yeah, you've been reading my horoscope again, haven't you, Grace?
Just read the journal carefully, Gabriel. Please.
I got St. George's books. Oh, Professor Hartridge, I'm glad you called. Did you... You did? Wait, slow down. The Aigris? Really? You think that's them? The wheel within a wheel.
Wheel within a wheel
Ogun
is heavily
Badagri,
significant.
Well, that does sound like it. Dambala, the snake.
And Dambala's gonna
That's
keep
the wavy
popping up.
pattern at the bottom, okay. The 1791 slave revolt in Santo Domingo. Well, why would the Veve show up there? Okay. 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 Look, I'll come over as soon as I can. Okay. Relax, Professor. I'm excited too, but you're gonna give yourself a heart attack. Okay. Thanks. See ya.
I wish you'd tell me what's going on. I swear you're gonna step into a hole you may never get out of.
Don't look so worried.
At least one of them
No
knows
one
that
knows
they're
what
in
I'm
deep.
doing. I'm perfectly safe. And I'm getting some great stuff for the book.
Nobody knows what he's
Besides,
doing.
there's something about all this.
Except for this guy outside the
My
window here.
dreams.
What about your dreams?
Nothing. I'll be careful, I promise.
Alright, because I didn't get to do this yesterday, because the game doesn't let you
Got a
do
minute,
this.
Grace?
What's up?
And even if you kind of break the rules a little bit to make sure you can do it,
Could you do
doesn't
some
do any
research
good.
for me?
Sure. What?
The Rada Drummers.
Could you research Rada drums for me?
Rotodrum? Sure. I don't think we have any books on that topic in the shop, but I'll contact our suppliers. Assuming any of them will extend you any credit.
Tell them it's an emergency.
Uh-huh. I can see where a Rotodrum book would be incredibly urgent. Anything else?
Alright, smartass. She doesn't
can't think
know
of
it is
anything.
important.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Dambala?
We've got 2 new
Ooh,
conversational
no.
topics.
Makes my skin crawl, though.
Does Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
No. Sorry.
Remember when this game started, we just had these 3 topics right here? We've come a long way, haven't we? Anyway, let's go see what that professor was all
I'm
going
outta
on
here.
about.
Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Have fun.
Tulane University. Oh, because I told you guys what's in the journal, I'm going to speed through it real quick, but Gabriel
Oh.
needs to read it too.
Olsey, son of a... Oh. Oh.
There we go. And here's a bit of out of a newspaper article. It's like an article from the 1800s? Yeah, 1810. About a similar series of murders. And the letter from his uncle.
Dear Gabriel, please read the enclosed journal carefully. It might help you understand your family's special obligations and our current predicament. God be with you, Uncle Wolfgang.
Good old Unc. Alright,
Hey,
Professor
Hartridge,
Hartridge.
what's a good word? Hartridge? Ah! Oh, God, not again.
Dead bodies keep popping up wherever he is. Oh, he kind of looks like Crash, doesn't he? Well, luckily I don't have to take his clothes off. I'm just going to grab
These
his notes
notes
and
look
skedaddle.
interesting.
It's hard to tell. This game has a difference between look at and read, and it is a big difference. The Agri tribe, the People's Republic of Benin, and a wheel within a wheel. You know where I haven't gone in a while? Oh, that's nice that he told them that he found a dead body. We haven't gone to see Dr. John. Here's the thing, I'm going to save it first because, unlike most Sierra games, it is not easy to die in Gabriel Knight. There are only a couple of places where you can. and this is one of them. And you know what? Just for grins,
Why is it Dr.
I'll die
John?
for you.
Hello?
Because there are so few deaths.
Oh.
Oh god! There's a snake on me. What do I do? I don't know what to do. There's a snake and it's choking me to death and I don't know what to do. Oh god. Oh, I died.
I really don't want to be dead. Can we try that again?
It's very nice of Tim Curry to offer me that choice. Again, there's only a handful of places where you can die, so you don't get to see that death screen very often.
Why is it Dr.
Some
John?
of you might vaguely remember
Hello?
in the first day walkthrough, I did a little something. Actually, the second day in the shop. Unless you explore the shop a bit, you'll never know how to get out of this trap. The snake is attuned to vibrations, and the fan is off balance. So the fan freaks it out.
You bastard!
Good day, Mr. Knight.
That thing
Yeah.
just tried to kill
Good
me.
day, Mr. Knight.
He did? I am sorry. The museum is closed today, you see, and we were not expecting visitors. But if you will excuse me, Mr. Knight, I must go look for him. He is incredibly valuable.
You don't need to ask twice. I'm out of here. By the way, you might want to lock your door next time you're closed.
Not a bad idea. Goodbye, Mr. Knight.
He's a big fella, isn't he? Now, what was the point of that, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's go back to the bookstore and see what Gracie
What
thinks.
happened to you?
Who, me? Nothing. Why?
Well, you're kind of a pale green color. Come here.
Pale green, you say? Charming.
What's that on your face?
I'm sure you'll tell me.
Looks like a sparkly or something. Got it.
I love it when you pick stuff off my face, Grace.
Well, excuse me.
Princess. Am I the only person who watched Zelda growing up? There is something in the ashtray. Can I pick it up, please? Did the game just tell me the ashtray is too small to pick up by hand?
Looks like the python left me a souvenir. Very interesting.
All right. Now I have 3 different snake scales to match to the one at the lake. Bingo! The scale I found at the lake matches Dr. John's snake. Very interesting. Since we're past the potential death mark, I'm going to save again. It's my adventure game trading. Save early, save often. My adventure game training also makes it so I don't question the fact that he's carrying all this stuff in his pocket. Especially the giant head-sized alligator mask. It's an adventure game.
I'm out of here.
He has
Try
magical
not
pockets.
to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
This is one of the hardest puzzles in the game. Partially because the game doesn't really give you a hint that you're supposed to be doing it at this point. And secondly, because it requires you to be able to spell Siki Madul. Hey, it's a new message. So I'll take the notes, copy
Let
them
me get
down.
these new marks.
So you take them, you copy them down. You take the old notes with the translation, apply them to the new one. And now, DJ, keep, we can assume that's eyes, so we're missing a Y. Eyes on GK, that would be Gabriel, but Do not harm. Alright, time for us to write our own message.
I think I'll leave a message of my own.
He erases all of it conveniently with his sleeve. And now you get to pick your message. And our message, because I've played this game many times, is DJ, bring... There it is. VR. Sorry, I forgot you got to switch back and forth. B-R-I-N. DJ, bring Siki Madul. That is S E K E Y M. Sorry about this, guys. It's boring for me too, I promise. A D O U L E. Whew! If I've done it right, Gabriel won't erase it. There. Thing is, I'm not entirely sure why I did that. In the book, they make it make sense, and I will take advantage of it the next day. But I'm not sure why I have to do it today, and it might be one of those activities. There's a few things where you can do them on either day, and that might be one of them, except I've always done it on this day. So it'll make more sense tomorrow, I promise. Let's go talk to my buddy Mosley.
Hey, Mostly.
It's you, God help me. Knight,
Mark Hamill.
I hate to tell you this, but you're out of a book. The Voodoo Murders case has been closed.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, son of a bitch.
So the police solved the murders? I mean, seriously?
Can I ask you about some stuff?
How do they close a
You're the writer.
bunch of
That's the
serial
way.
murders? Let's find out.
Crash is dead.
What? What are you talking about? I let him go yesterday.
Yeah, and I watched him die yesterday at St. Louis Cathedral.
At the cathedral? Guess he was trying to get a last-minute A-train ticket, eh? Poor bastard.
I think you should go find the body at the morgue. He was killed by the voodoo cult. Crash said.
Crash said? Did he mention pink elephants, too?
Aren't you going to investigate?
Oh, that's right. The police detective doesn't
Did you
believe
actually
in voodoo.
see someone kill him?
No. Actually, I was with him when he died. Could have been poison, though.
Yeah, well, when they get the body in, they'll do a quick autopsy. Standard procedure. If it's anything other than an overdose, I'll get a report. But it won't happen. I know these guys. Lock them up overnight, and they tend to overdo it the next day.
The
Your
compassionate cop.
professionalism is astonishing. There's been another murder. A professor at Tulane.
Oh, Christ, you're not gonna start this again.
What do you mean
Just
again? I'm
listen.
still doing it.
This guy's name is Hartridge. He was a professor in African studies at Tulane. Yesterday, I went to see him about the voodoo murders case. He agreed to do some research for me. He calls
I
me up
could
this
skip
morning,
through the dialogue,
tells
but
me
we
he's onto
are
something
almost
big.
done with the day.
And when I
so,
get over there,
I really
the
want you guys to
guy's
get more of the
dead.
flavor of the game.
You know, you're really getting your ass in a sling over this thing, Knight.
It's not about me. Look, Hartridge's death looked just like Crash's. I'm telling you, they were both murdered, and by the same people who did the voodoo murders.
Did either Crash or this new guy have their hearts ripped out?
No.
Then there's nothing to link either to the voodoo murders, M.O. Besides that, the case is closed, Knight. If the coroner's report asks for a homicide investigation on either of these guys, fine. But it's not going to be related to the voodoo murders case unless we find damn good reason to do so.
But I'm the link to the voodoo murders case, don't you see?
Look, if I were you, I wouldn't repeat that to anyone. If I weren't an old friend of yours, I might take you seriously and lock you up. As it is, maybe you should start keeping your mouth shut. Not involve other people with this shit, if you think it's so dangerous.
He's kind of got a point there.
What
So
you
how come
know
the case
about-
got closed?
The case is closed. There's no...
He's not going to tell me why it got closed? Fine.
How can
Reopen
I
the
convince
case.
you to reopen the case?
Look, the department's not interested.
So, couldn't you make them interested?
The department's not
With
interested
what?
in a
I've got
group of
7
serial
bodies
murderers.
and still no leads. The voodoo angle's worthless. And besides, these people aren't hurting anybody but out-of-town drug dealers and hitmen.
So it's okay for them to
Voodoo
die. The
stuff
police
is
don't
not
care.
worthless. It's the key to the whole thing. And these people are dangerous. They need to be stopped.
Okay. You want me to reopen this case? Prove what you just said.
What do you mean?
You need to prove there's a legitimate voodoo cult in New Orleans. Prove that they're a threat. Get me a lead on the cult.
All right. Let's prove the voodoo is legitimate. Here is my veve.
You know those marks you found around the murder victims? This is a reconstruction of the whole pattern.
What makes you think this is an accurate reconstruction?
Well, I borrowed the partial patterns from your police file and did my own tracing of the pattern at Lake Pontchartrain. An architectural artist reconstructed it for me from the partials.
Really? So this is the whole pattern, huh? Well, that's pretty good work, Knight.
Certainly
but that
better
doesn't
than
prove
what the
that this
police
pattern
could
is
do.
really connected to voodoo.
All right, you want me to prove it's connected to voodoo? Professor Hartridge's notes.
Take a look at these notes. They're from Professor Hartridge at Tulane University.
Yeah? And what about them?
They confirm that the pattern from the murders is of African origin.
Really? It's incredible, isn't it? Something like that showing up here?
It's been here for quite some time, so it seems.
I'm impressed. Okay, you've convinced me. The murders were done by a legitimate voodoo cult.
All I had to do was his job for him. Now I have to prove they've been around for a while. How about this newspaper clipping?
This is a newspaper clipping about a murder committed in 1810. That murder is an exact match of the voodoo murders, right down to the marks around the bodies.
This does sound like the same M.O. 1810?
1810. They killed then, they're killing now. Isn't that proof that they're likely to kill again? That they are a threat?
Okay, they're a threat.
But now I have to give him a lead, because he won't do his job unless I can get him started. So how am I going to give him a lead into the cult? What have I got? Why, I've got a scale from the scene of the crime that matches Dr. John Snake. Luckily, he's my buddy, and he'll just believe me when I say I found it at Lake Pontchartrain at the crime scene.
I have these two snake scales. One's from the crime scene at Lake Pontchartrain. The other's from a snake in the Voodoo Museum on Ursulines and Charters.
Is this common? Do they all look alike?
Not at all. They're both constrictor scales, and the coloring is the same. A python's coloring is quite individualistic.
He's become a snake expert. You get strangled by one, you learn a lot about him.
That's right. Hardly an indigenous snake to Louisiana. Somehow, some way, the Voodoo Museum's python was at the scene of the Lake Pontchartrain murder.
Well, I'd call that a lead, all right. It certainly suggests certain lines of inquiry at the museum. Not bad work, Knight. If we can tie them into this voodoo cult, we
Yeah, it's a
just
shame I
might
have to do all the
something.
police's work for them.
Okay, I'll reopen the case. I hate to admit it, but you've done some pretty good detective work here, Knight.
Well, you know what they say. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Well, point taken. Glad I could inspire you. I'll
Butter
check
him
around
up.
the department, but I have a feeling I'm on my own. In fact, I better lock up this office just in case I step on a few toes. Come on.
That's right. Now he's a rogue cop. He's out there on his own, fighting crime by himself. A vigilante cop. Oh, look, one of the drummers. They are everywhere.
Now, lay low and let me handle this.
Yeah, fine.
And that's the end of the day. See, that was pretty painless. Finally starting to get the hang of these LP things. Gabriel goes in. Your race comes out. And it's the end of another day in New Orleans. As we listen in to Gabriel Knight's booty call. Huh?
Damn!
Of course, he doesn't get the nightmares when he's sleeping with somebody. It's only when he's sleeping alone. A woman burning, a man crying. The woman turns into a leopard. And now she's sitting naked in a wheel within a wheel. Some sort of talisman. Stained with blood. The ritual dagger, the three snakes. And St. George's Rare Bookstore. Let's not forget the snake around the guy's throat. And Gabriel is the hanged man. Every time we see it, there's a little bit more detail. See you guys next time.